Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over a story titled, Am I the a-hole for demanding that my stepkid pay me back for my golf clubs or I'll never give him another dime? And a big shout out to Ash for sending me this story. And guys, what we have here is yet another example of why you should not date, get involved with, or certainly marry a single MOM. You're going to see in this story, guys, that so many things I talk about in the different type of, videos I've done about warning guys why not to date the single MOMs, just going to show up right here. And this story, guys, about a guy, he is presently 32 years old, and he's married to a single MOM. He started dating her about 6 years earlier, and at the time, she had a 10-year-old kid. Fast forward in time, the kid's now 16, and one day, he noticed that his golf clubs and all his golf gear disappeared. Apparently the kid, I guess, took them out as permission and claimed that they were stolen out of his car. And this is approximately $3,000 worth of equipment. And the guy, that's his passion. He goes 3 times a week, and he pretty much wants to lay down the law. That kid's going to pay me back. And he's having all this conflict with his wife, the boy's mom, because she wants to make it easy on the boy. Big surprise. Meanwhile, he's out $3,000. He's out with his golf clubs and equipment are gone, and he wants his kid to frickin' pay for it on multiple fronts. So he's clashing with the mom. And you're going to see how he goes about this, the whole thing. And guys, I've mentioned lots of times things why you don't get involved with them, and one of the biggest ones is having to deal with her kid. Having to deal with the kid and the child's BS, whether it's a boy or a girl, and oftentimes the kid's showing you disrespect, and you being in a place where the single MOM doesn't want you to lay down the law and discipline their kid. They'll be more than happy to take your money to help out raising that kid, but if you want to lay down the law with that kid, oh no, you can't do that. Now, a guy that allows that is weak, of course, but you see my point. Also, you're going to see in this story why I say so often it's so important that boys have a masculine presence in their life to not only guide them and show them the way, but to give them a good kick in the pants when they need it and lay down the law. Because moms are always softer on the boys. Now, there are obviously exceptions, but generally speaking, moms are way easier on boys than they are girls. Night and day. And you're going to see this here. And boys need that from time to time, the tough father to set them straight. So, I'm going to get into this and you'll see more exactly what I'm talking about. And you guys out there that are married to single MOMs, or maybe you were in the past, I'm sure some of this will come back and you'll remember these types of scenarios. So it starts off, he says here, I'm a 32-year-old male married to Kayla, a 36-year-old female, and she has a son, a 16-year-old male. Drew overall is a good kid, plays sports, and has good friends. I started dating Kayla when he was 10 years old, and I was never asked to be a father figure. Well, you may have never been asked to be a father figure, but you certainly paid for the kid like a father figure. And by the way, let's quick do some math here before we get into the story here. He started dating her 6 years ago when the boy was 10. She's presently 36. 36 minus 16 means that she had the kid when she was 20 years old, meaning she got pregnant at 19. Great job. So essentially she was a kid raising a kid. And yes, 20 years old, you're a legal adult in the United States, but how many 20-year-olds do you see walking around that are very mature nowadays? Not a whole lot. How many 25-year-olds do you see that are mature these days walking around? Not a whole lot. So already you have a problem starting off here. She was a kid raising a kid. And this dude, not only did he marry a single MOM, but she's 4 years older than him. So what the hell, man? But you make your bed, you lie in it, dude. And he's going to learn. Anyway, he says, Drew has a dad. His dad doesn't really put in much effort, but he does show up sometimes. Maybe dad is a chatter Tyrone. And mom found herself a nice guy to take care of things. Imagine that. That never happens. This must be the first time ever that that's happened. Kayla made it clear she wasn't looking for a dad for her son. But whomever she ended up with would need to be respectful of Drew. Why would he need to be respectful of the kid? How about the kid is respectful of him? Notice mom is laying down the terms here. And only somebody who doesn't have a whole lot of options or clueless would accept such terms, let alone get serious with a gal who is a single MOM that you're going to have to deal with, the kid, and also older, I might add. I'm not into having kids, so this worked out. Me and Drew are cordial, but it's almost like an older cousin type relationship. His mom told me from the beginning that I wasn't ever to discipline Drew. My role was just to be there for serious issues. Define serious issues. You mean like if the shit hits the fan, he's going to be there to obviously open up his wallet or hand over his American Express card. Right here. Wasn't ever to discipline Drew. Guys, in my opinion, if you are actually going to take on the roles marrying a single MOM and you're essentially being the stepfather, you can bet your ass you are going to be able to discipline that child, because that little punk gets out of line, and all kids are going to get out of line at some point. That kid needs to listen to you, especially if they're living in your house, because a lot of times that's the case. The mom and the child comes and lives with the guy. Nobody should ever agree to these terms, but he obviously did, which is a mistake, and he's paying the price for this. Don't ever do that, guys. Don't accept bad deals. Now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of the story here. It says here, I'm an avid golfer and my clubs are my baby. I golf 2 to 3 times a week. I keep my clubs in the basement and away from Drew and his friends. I came home last week and got to look for my clubs and they were gone. I called Kayla and Drew. Kayla said Drew went golfing with his friends. I asked if she said he could take my clubs, and she said he didn't ask about the clubs. I kept calling Drew. Well, he comes home the next morning. He said he borrowed them. I got pissed and said he should have told me first, which he apologized for. Then the bombshell. He lost them. Said he put them in the trunk of his car and spent the night at a friend's. In the morning, the clubs were gone. I blew a gasket. I called his friend's parents, the cops, and went to his friend's house to look for them. They are gone. Here's a question. Was there any damage to the trunk of the car? Was there a sign of forced entry or something like that? How did they just disappear? Because I don't hear anything about evidence like that. My instant gut told me that the kid probably sold them. Pawn shop, somebody else, I don't know what. That's my gut here. The way that's going on here. I don't know what happened to them. Now, let's go into the whole disciplinarian thing here. The kid took his golf clothes out his permission. This guy, 3 times a week. For you golfers out there, I'm sure there are many of you who love your sport. This is your guy time to be alone, to get some space, out there, outside, doing your thing. I don't play golf, but I know people that love it. And this little punk takes it without permission, and she's all nonchalant about that. See the problem here? I demanded to be repaid. The total cost of my bag, clubs, balls, and other stuff in my bag is over $3,000. Kayla said she'd be punishing Drew, but that I should let the cost of the clubs go because we are a family. Bullshit. I laugh because that isn't what she said when it comes to discipline or other issues. I should accept being out $3,000 for someone who isn't even my kid. I said I want actual money. Me and Kayla have split finances. Well, thank the Lord there, he was smart enough to do that. So she's saying that if I'm demanding money, then it's like I'm asking her to fork over $3,000. I said that that is her issue, not mine. She then asked if Drew could work off the debt by doing the lawn projects and more chores till the debt is clear. How many lawn mowing jobs is it going to take this kid to pay off $3,000? It'll take him years to do that. I mean, okay, typically people mow lawns most of the country here from maybe about mid-April to late September. So we can look at 4 months, 16 weeks. Let's just throw an extra couple of weeks. You never know. 18 times, $20 for the lawn. I don't know what the hell they go for these days. $360 a year mowing lawns. So you can look about 8 or 9 years to pay it off. Oh, no. Whatever savings that kid has, like full of birthday money or college funds, that can come back to pay the $3,000. Or that kid gets a job immediately and pays off that $3,000. Or somebody is going to pay him his $3,000. He's not going to wait around for him to work it off. This kid needs to learn the lesson. That's what a father would do, laying down the law with a teenager who needs it. But mom doesn't see it that way. It says here, By doing the lawn projects and more chores till the debt is clear. I said, no chance. She's saying that Drew can't get a job because of sports. So I need to just accept his apology, her punishment, and hard labor as repayment. What kind of hard labor is mom going to have the kid do? I don't think he's going to be in the backyard with a sledgehammer smashing rocks like he's in prison or something. That was hard labor. And I don't buy for a second that mom would initiate enough punishment to fit the crime here, because moms are easier with boys, as you can already see, making it easier for him. And she says he does sports, so therefore he can't get a job. Let me tell you something, guys. If I pulled a stunt like this when I was a kid, my parents would be like, oh no, you're quitting the sports and you're going to get a job. Now, maybe this kid's in sports and hopes to get a scholarship one day, so perhaps that could be a factor. I don't know. But even then, he took them without permission. They disappeared. It's on him. He should have to quit the sports and get a freaking job and pay it off. You think he'll ever make that mistake again twice? Oh no. But nope, mom wants to be easy on him. This is the problem in today's world. The whole generation, going back for 20 years easily, of kids nowadays, both the kids that are teenagers now, and now the young adults in their 20s, even 30s, that I've noticed are more irresponsible, more entitled, more clueless, more disrespectful. I can go on than ever. And where does it come from? The parents. The parents not laying down the law. The parents deciding to be their friend or their buddy instead of raising them to be adults in a tough, competitive, harsh world. And having freaking respect. And laying down the law when they get out of line. That's a big problem leading to what we have today. Goes on, he says here, so I need to just accept his apology, her punishment, and the hard labor's repayment. I want actual repayment, not lip service. Exactly, my man. So I will not be giving Drew anything until I recoup my money. No Christmas, birthday, graduation gifts. I will not give him money for gas, dates, or food like I had before. Smack. I should have smacked him earlier for marrying a single MOM and agreeing to her terms. What do you mean you're giving him money for dates and gas and things like that? Let me tell you, do you think my parents gave me money for dates or gas? Oh no, I worked on the weekends and I had that money for that. So I'm talking about, he can't discipline the kid, but he's there to give money. Talk about accepting a bad deal. If he asks me for something that will cost money, I just say golf clubs till I get my $3,000 back. Kayla's saying this isn't how you treat family who makes a mistake. That's not a mistake. I said Drew might be family, but it doesn't mean I have to be a doormat. A few of my friends see my side and others are calling me an a-hole. So, am I the a-hole? Absolutely not in this situation. You have every right to demand you get paid and lay down the law regardless what she says. But you are the a-hole, or you were a bonehead, for marrying a single MOM under these terms. And not to mention an older one. Now, I hope she's hot. I hope she's good in the sack. And I'm willing to bet you she's not as hot and as good in the sack as she was when you first met her. Call me crazy, but that's usually how it goes. So what should he do, in my opinion? Well, first of all, he said he contacted the police. I'd be checking any local pawn shops to see if his golf clubs and golf equipment are there. I'd be checking that kid's room when he's in school to see if there's a big wad of cash somewhere, because I just don't buy this story that there was no signs of forced entry in the car and amongst many other things, and it just, happened to disappear. I'm not buying it. I think that kid pulled a big scam. Find out that kid's on drugs. Just look around for any new purchases that he... how's he have this electronic device or whatever? Where did that come from? He may find out a whole lot more. As for her, it's about time he starts laying down the law with her. And end of story. And also, might I start really questioning whether he wants to continue on in this marriage. It's not too late. He's 32. He can get out. Yeah, he'll take a hit. They all do, but you know what? He's 32. He can rebuild because it's not fucking worth it. But you can see here, guys, what I talk about. Perfect examples of the disrespect from the kids, the bullshit you deal with, how... yeah, you're there for the money and all that, and maybe the house they live in, but you actually try to lay down the law. The mom gets involved. Wants to make it easier on the kid. Why the moms are easier on the boys. Therefore, the boys need a strong dad to lay down the law, give them a kick in the ass when they need it. This is what I'm talking about. Now, a few comments here, because they're always fun. One guy says here, not the a-hole, but the bottleneck is not Drew, it's Kayla. She's the one who has adult level money, and she's the one who's refusing to pay you compensation for what her son did. Correct behavior on her part would be to pay you herself rather than making Drew do it. And then to discipline Drew in whatever way she, as his parent, believes is most likely to teach him to behave better in the future. No, she will not give him the type of punishment this kid would need to make him learn a lesson. Making him quit the sports and get a job to pay it off, that would be a lesson, let me tell you. Even if, well, that impacts his future. He'll learn a very, very important lesson. Right now the problem is that she's complaining in outrage that it's like you're asking for her to fork over $3,000. But you should be asking exactly that, because she should indeed fork over the $3,000 out of her own money. I agree. Since you two keep separate finances in the first place, that's an easy way to compensate you for your clubs. So why is she objecting to it? And why are you letting her get away with dodging so that you feel like you can't get your money back, except in tiny bits and pieces and not giving things to Drew? She should be paying you back. You should be staying firm with her about this. I 100% agree on that. Completely. He got himself in this mess, but if he wants to have her respect him, he's got to lay on the law and not back down. And if she pulls the whole, you agreed to this crap, or he said, well, I'm changing the terms of our agreement. Otherwise, get the fuck out. Life's too short to deal bullshit, guys. Another guy says here, he sold the clubs. Note how the OP doesn't say anything about damage to the kid's car. How did the clubs get stolen out of his trunk? Whoever knew they were in there? Is that all that was stolen? Kids sold the clubs. And that's what I think. Another guy says here, I agree, and the OP should tell dear Kayla that if she doesn't fork over the money for replacement, then there's always the option of calling the police and having Drew arrested for theft. $3,000 isn't that a felony? He could do that. If this guy is done with the marriage, yeah, he can do that. Another guy says, not the a-hole. She doesn't want you to treat Drew like your son until it benefits her. He's 16 years old. That is more than old enough to know not to take other people's belongings without permission, and damn sure old enough to replace things he breaks or loses. Honestly, I tell Kayla she won't be getting anything from you either until the debt is paid off. Well, he's not going to be getting any punani either, I might add. She is an overly permissive mother, and this will be a reoccurring problem if someone doesn't make Drew learn, and is clearly will never be her. Yeah, he gets away with this, or she makes it easy on him. Trust me, there'll be more bullshit in the future. Mark my words. And last says here, first, not the a-hole. Anyone who takes something that they never asked for permission on and then loses it should pay you back. How they pay you back, working it off, errands, cash, etc., can be up for debate. However, I will say that you are the a-hole to yourself. Why did you sign up for this marriage or relationship? There you go. Somebody's finally saying it other than me. Yes, the stepson has a dad, but guess what? You're the stepdad. Why do you allow yourself to be in this quasi-stepdad relationship? You're never supposed to discipline, but then you are financially still support him by saying he gets money for gas, date, food, etc. So you've allowed yourself to be a financial stepdad, but you get no say in discipline. See? This guy accepted a shitty deal. I am not one of those crazy you need to divorce people, but I think you really need to rethink this relationship on roles and responsibilities. Absolutely. And this thing, in my opinion, is going to make or break this marriage. Either he lays down the law and says, this kid's, you're going to pay me the money for him, and I'm going to start having a say how things go in my house with this kid and blah, blah, blah. Or simply, it ain't going to work. Because if he lets this slide, whatever level of respect she already has for him, which I tell you right now isn't a whole lot, is going to get worse. And he's not going to get the SCX. And next thing you know, she's going to be talking to people on social media, if not already. And next thing you know, he's cheating and breakup and divorce and all that shit. So I don't see this going well if he lets it slide at all. He's got to lay down the law. Otherwise, start really thinking about the big picture in the rest of his life. That's what he should do. Talk to some people he can trust. Talk to an attorney if that's what he thinks. Find out his options, good, bad, or ugly, and go for it, because it doesn't sound like a good situation. He doesn't write this in a way like he's deeply in love with her. He doesn't describe his marriage as like we were so happy together and blah, blah, blah. No. It just seems like, yeah, you know, he wanted to marry somebody because that's what you do. That's what society tells us. And he picked her. And for him, he thought it was the low-hanging branch. Okay, single MOM. No problem there. Well, didn't work out very well in his favor. So, guys, bunch of things here that I talk about all the time just to make my point of why. For you dating relationship guys, better you just wait for a gal that doesn't have the kid. Because you can see some of the bullshit you're going to deal with. Or, if you're going to go down that path, against my advice, you certainly are someone that will lay down the law and make it clear from day one. Otherwise, this shit. So, Alright guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below and just think about this. Let me know. What do you think? Do you think this guy's the a-hole for laying down the law, not the a-hole for marrying her? We can agree there. He is the a-hole, the bonehead for doing that, but it's in the past. Hopefully he learns from it. And also guys, be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.